And I'm back. And when MJF.
I saw a guy cutting grass today. It must be growing with all the rain we had.
Yeah, my neighbor too. Harrison come over to cut his lawn, yeah. He's got a big rider. Yep. They started, Steve. They started spring cleaning and cutting already.
Unbelievable.
Saw someone else tuning up out there. Faint signal, but it's someone tuning up.
You just missed Alan. He went and shut his garage door. You can always tell when Al comes in. He hits the tune button first.
Oh, I do too, but you would need a software-defined radio or something with a waterfall to see, because I dropped down to, 463, and, and I don't have a tube amp either, so, when I drop a tune signal, it's only 5 to 7 watts. Once I'm tuned up for that, then I just, fire right up to the 1,000, there's no tuning up with the solid state. You just turn it on and go.
Roger. Hey, Matt, I'm going to shut my compression off. I might sound better.
I'm back, and we'll line I.
Okay, I just shut the compression off. Is that better?
It brings your signal down a little bit, but it's more armchair. It's definitely a lot smoother.
Okay. Over to you, Alan.
Yep, nope, I'm just making myself aware that I'm back.
Roger.
Yeah, Tom, I said about the, if you're doing DXing, definitely need the compression, but fucking locally, you don't need it. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, but why put it on though?
I run compression all the time. Just me, but I run it all the time.
You don't need it.
Well, sometimes if you talk long distance, then you said, well, I should have had the compression on.
If you said it right, it doesn't make a difference whether you're talking long distance or not. I mean, as long as you keep your ALC where it's supposed to be, and your comp and everything where it's supposed to be, it should sound fine whether you're talking DX or not.
Roger. Yeah, my ALC exceeds 50.
Roger, I got my compression on right now.
Yeah, now shut it off.
Now it's off.
Talk a little more, Alan.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, you got softer. Yep.
Roger, now give me a minute because I have to tune.
I got my stream up too if you want to hear it either in real time or later, Al.
I'm back, M-O-Y-N-I.
Al, did you hear what Matt said, or you was busy tuning?
Something about his bean?
No, I got the YouTube stream going, so you can either go grab it and now, or play it back later or tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'll check it out. That's cool.
I like that. Yeah, you can hear yourself, the audio.
And you can see it on the spectrum and waterfall.
Yep.
Waterfall. Remember saying that? Hey, how you get rid of the waterfall? If you don't know how to operate it, don't buy it.
Hey, the waterfall's really handy, especially if you're, looking for some DX or something, because I can be looking at, a whole, megahertz of the spectrum, and, all it takes, as soon as a signal shows up, no matter how faint or large, I see it right away, and I can click right on it and just jump right to it.
I'm watching both waterfalls right now. I got a waterfall on 10, and I got a waterfall on 15.
The panoramic radio.
Yep, it is handy, and 10 meters was lighting up earlier. I saw some nice DX on 10 meters earlier. It was open to all the Oceania and Australia.
10 meters been banging.
Yep. Did you see the photos I posted of the sun this afternoon?
No, I haven't been on the internet at all, so I haven't seen anything. Watching a movie, and then I came in here and turned on the radio.
Yeah, I took my telescope. I got a reducer for the back of the telescope and went out there, and now I can get the entire sun in frame, almost perfectly in frame, as the entire frame.
Roger. You gonna try to use something like that for when you're shooting the eclipse?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do have the auto tracking base for the telescope, so I was testing that today, and I had it locked on the sun, and it was tracking the sun. And I have the computer control for that, for the camera, and for the focus of the telescope. So I'm just going to attach, the cable to that and sit back about 5 feet so I don't create any vibrations, and operate all of them right from the laptop.
Yeah, the only problem is if that thing's filling the frame up completely, I don't think you're going to get the full effect when the moon is completely blocking the sun and you're getting all the heat and the pops coming off from behind it. They say the perfect length, which I kind of disagree with them, but from everything I'm reading, they say the perfect length is 400 millimeters. I'm thinking it's more like 600 millimeters. But I'm going to shoot it at 4, 5, and 6, and we'll see which one's the best.
Well, I only have one body, so whatever I end up attaching the camera to is what it's going to be going, what I'm going to be going with. But in case you miss it, I'll send you one of the photos, and the photo I'm going to send you is, not cropped at all. It's exactly how it was captured. So it seems that once Facebook does its compression to it, it looks a little bit dingy, we'll say, or digitized. But I think the framing is perfect. I think I'll be able to catch all of that. Just, I mean, top and bottom, it may, poke out a little bit of frame, but I think I'll be able to get it nice, especially with the auto tracking.
Right. Yeah, what's the focal length?
So it's 1500 millimeters at f/22, but with I have a 0.67x reducer, so that brings me down to about 1,000. But my camera is not a full frame camera, so that actually brings me back up to about 2,000, I believe.
If the things bring you down to 1,000 and you're shooting a DS frame, it should bring you to about 1,500.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense because it is 4/3. So yeah, 4/3 of an inch.
Roger. And what's your f-stop going to be with the reducer on?
It claims it brings it to between an f/5.6 to an f/6, which not great, not horrible.
Yeah, but you could turn it up in the camera, right?
Yeah, and not to mention my camera, I was taking some practice shots today with it, and it seemed like it was getting a pretty good exposure times at ISO 500. Yeah,
I'm probably gonna shoot somewhere between f/8 and f/14, and I'm hoping. Well, you got that big filter in the front of it, so your ISO's going to be up. I'm hoping to keep my ISO somewhere around 300, but we'll see what happens. You really have no idea what's going to happen until that day. But we'll adjust. We'll do what we got to do.
Yeah, and of course, there's going to be somewhat of a science happening in real time for us, adjusting, as the light, of course, adjusts.
Oh, yeah. My problem is my filtering is not going to be in. My filtering is not going to be in until I think the day before or 2 days before, so I'm going to have, and then I got to make it. The filtering for my 500 millimeter lens, it's just a slip-on filter, it's all done. My 400 millimeter, I already have one, but my 600 millimeter, I have to make a filter because it will cost me $2,000 to buy a filter for that lens. The glass is so big in the front. So I'm going to make a filter, but I mean, it's probably going to take me a day to make it. So I'm either going to have no practice at all or 1 day to practice and that's it, which is really not enough time, but it is what it is. Give me a minute, guys. I'll be right back.
I never knew photography involved so much. The lenses are more than the cameras.
Well, yeah, absolutely. By far, actually. Some lenses are, 10 times what the camera cost. Because, I mean, they'll have 20 pieces of precision ground glass with all sorts of coatings so that you don't get any reflections or glares or, if you use a cheap lens and you have, like, say, the sun anywhere in, even out of frame, you get all those rainbows and sun flares, lens flares as they're called. You get a good quality piece of lens and, you don't really get those artifacts, at least not nearly to the extent. That's all the coatings on the lenses right there.
Wow, unbelievable. Yep. I remember when Al went to Africa. I think Gary did too, right, Steve? Gary went to Africa. GWL. Yep, all the pictures he took. Oh my God. Over to you, Steve.
Oh yeah. Yep. Very good. Yeah. Okay, lower my power down a little bit. I'm in the other room here. Get everything all switched over to the bed shack.
Are you in a horizontal position?
Yeah. Nothing like it.
Hey, Roger. Remember David? Oh boy. When he was on William Henry Road, he used to light that fireplace. He used to fall asleep, and you could hear him snoring. He fell right on the PTT, his elbow, and he was sleeping. Oh my God. Unbelievable. The heat puts you right out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hey Matt, how long does this eclipse, how long does it last? Like you'll be shooting for how long? What does it last? 5 minutes, an hour?
Well, you only get like the total darkness for even just a handful of seconds, and that's it. But the work up and, then, I forget what they call it, the transitional period, I think that's a few minutes each way.
Wow. All this traveling, all this stuff, all these lenses for a few minutes.
Oh no, all the lenses and everything, I have those for good. And they're not used just for the sun. The only thing that's used for the sun is the solar filter. And so far, I only have about $35-40 invested in solar filters. But I mean, like my telescope and the lens, the quote unquote reducer lens that I got for it, that's actually going to be really handy for me when I'm taking pictures of the stars, which is something I do more often. But now that I have the solar filters, anytime there's a nice solar storm and, a really high sunspot count, I'll go out in my backyard and set this up and take some photos of the sun with all the sunspots. Heck yeah.
Wow. That's another hobby.
Hey, Frank?
Yes.
My wife told me to ask you if you could get the recipe for your who was it, your sister or sister-in-law?
My sister's rice pie. Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Frank, check your phone.
Okie doke. Wow, that is unbelievable, huh? Oh my God.
See, now the big difference between the photos that you'll see from me on, the eclipse and the ones from Al's going to be using a camera lens, like a typical camera lens, just like he would use for taking pictures of wildlife. So his will be a lot crisper than mine, but mine may be a lot more blown up because I'm going to be using the telescope. And telescopes they're not the same as camera lenses. There's some big differences on their quality and how they I could take a picture of wildlife with it, but it doesn't pop like a camera lens will.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. That was the sun from this afternoon. Wow.
Filter, Frank.
Wow. And I'm looking at the telescope here with looks like a telephone on it.
Oh, that's the controller for moving it. That, like I said earlier, that telescope, that little handheld controller, I set that and I moved the telescope with that, and then I tell it it's looking at the sun. It knows our GPS. It knows the time and date. And from that, as soon as I center it on the sun and I hit the button that says it's locked on, it just follows the sun.
That is unbelievable. I saved that to my favorites. Wow. The sun looks like a big sphere of fire. Beautiful color.
Matt, you know what that's real good for?
What's that?
Something weird's going on over here. What the hell is going on? Guys, you gotta give me a minute. I gotta check something out. Something real weird's going on here. It's good for shooting the Milky Way. Because the Earth moves. You know, and if you really want to get that picture of the Milky Way, that's fantastic for that. But something's wrong. Something's going on. I don't know what, guys. Give me a minute. I gotta figure out what's happening.
Oh, for really good time exposures, I need to have the other style of tracking base. Mine is azimuth elevation, and with that, it doesn't rotate the camera with the sky. Mine stays stationary with the Earth. It'll track objects, but it doesn't. It's not good for time exposures. I need to get an equatorial mount for that, and that is on my wish list.
Roger, I got one. I don't use it, but guys, I gotta get back. I gotta check something's drastically wrong.
Wrong with what? Your radio?
No, let him check it out and come back when he's done.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I just figured out what's wrong. I'm all set. It's fixed.
What the hell was wrong, Al?
I had the friggin' tuner on in the radio like an idiot.
The tuner was locked on?
I had the tuner in the radio on, and that was the problem. The tuner's not supposed to be on in the radio.
Roger.
Yeah, I used it a couple of times, Matt, up in Yellowstone, but around here it's not even worth using it. There's too much light pollution.
Yeah, that's what the stacking's for. You got to get your light exposures, your dark exposures, and stack a bunch, and poof, voila, you start seeing what your eye can never see. Did I send you my astrophotography album? I don't really have much in it. I haven't done anything since last summer.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
What's them two little in the sun? What's them two little black spots on the right bottom there? They look like two little stars.
Well, there's a lot more than just two of them. Zoom in and you'll see them. There's all over the whole right half of it has those spots. Those are sunspots. That right there is the good DX, the sun giving us good DX.
Oh, yeah, I see. I put my glasses on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
I fought against stacking for a long time. I'm, just like I still fight against Photoshop. I'm one of these guys who thinks, if you can't get it in the camera, then it's not worth getting. But I'll be honest with you, I seen some landscape shots, where I stacked them, and it was absolutely beautiful. But I rather just shoot at F18, F19, F20, and achieve a nice crisp picture that way, rather than play around with the computer.
Hey, Steve, do you receive pictures on your phone?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm going to send you a picture of Matt's disc cone.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Matt, I want you to listen to something, all right?
Sure, and I just sent you a photo album of my astrophotography photos. Those were all taken with between 45 to 100 millimeter lens, f2.8, and most of them are just 20 or 30 images stacked. What do you got?
I got to get there first. Okay, listen to the mic the way it's set right now, and I'm going to make one quick change. It shouldn't be a drastic change, but let me know if you hear anything, and if so, which one you like better. All right, this is one setting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is the other setting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not a huge difference, but the second one I think has a little bit more fullness to it.
Okay, the second one is with the comp and the processor on automatic, where the radio will actually adjust your process and your ALC and everything by itself where it thinks it should be. And that's the one I'm on now. And this one is with the radio not doing it and me doing it. So that's the difference between the two settings. You like this setting more with the radio doing it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, with my ear, I really couldn't hear a difference, but when I was looking at the waterfall, I saw a little bit more red, which usually tells me that you're getting a little bit more concentrated power.
Roger.
I like the disc cone, Matt.
Yeah, so in that image you can see the custom modification I put on top. That's for the listening for the airplanes on 1090 megahertz.
Yeah, come neat, I'll tell you. Looks like you ordered it that way. It didn't look like you added it on. Unbelievable.
They're actually up that high now.
Oh, that's where it's always been. It's been for a long time. But yeah, for the I'm drawing a blank on the letters right now. But yeah, to track all the airplanes, it's 1090 megahertz.
I didn't know that. I've been still listening to them on VHF and UHF.
Yeah, ADS-B is 1090 megahertz.
I gotta check that out. Do you listen to Gander at all?
Not really. Every once in a while I kind of scroll around, but I don't know. I don't really stay listening to much anymore. Like I haven't even ran the 1090 megahertz radio in a while here.
I got a video of I forget what plane. I got a video, audio. I gotta go back and listen to it of them talking to Gander out of New York, and they're talking about an aircraft that they're looking at. That's an unknown aircraft, like they never seen before, that was harassing the plane and asking Gander if they have anything. And then Gander refers to them and three other stations, and nobody has it on their radar. But the pilots are saying it's right there, right in front of us.
A UFO.
They did not say that. They said a unidentified aircraft.
It might have been a It might have been a Chinese balloon.
Not by the way these guys were talking.
Steve, you get the disc cone?
Yeah, looks pretty good. Somebody could take a picture during the day, and you can see a lot better during the day, but yeah, looks really good.
They like the disc cone. I like the stuff underneath the disc cone.
Well, the Comet disc cone does better than the Diamond. Well, for us. You know, who wants 1.2 or that shit? We'd rather have 900.
Are you using the disc cone for transmitting on 900?
You can, but you're very limited. 2 meter, 440, 6 meter, 900. I forgot what else Steve said. The Comet disc cone.
1.2 gig.
Yeah, but you're much better off buying a real antenna for that.
Oh, I know it. That's only a receiver antenna, but you can transmit on it, but only a short distance. 0 gain now.
Frank, I think it was the Diamond. I don't know what it was. The one I had worked on oh wait, what was it? I was using it on 60 meters. I don't know if it was the disc cone, but I think it may have been the disc cone. I'm not sure. I think it may have been the disc cone. And I was DXing with it. But of course, the band was absolutely insane open. I mean, I think you would have been able to DX on a wet noodle at that time.
Did you say 6 meters or 60? 60.
What is it? Is it 60 meters or 6 meters? What's the 50 megahertz?
5.330.5.
No, what band is that? Is that 6 meters or 60?
That's 60. 6 is 50. 50 dot. But 60 meters is 5.330.
No. 50 megahertz.
Okay,
I'm all over 50 megahertz, Frank.
Yeah, because I go on 60 meters. There's 5 frequencies, and I use a double bazooka.
Yeah, that's the low power, right? Isn't that the low power?
Yeah, you could increase it now. Yeah, I run 50 watts.
Yeah, but that's still low power compared to everything else.
Yeah. At one time, I think you could only run 5 watts. Now it's either 50 or 100. I think certain states are different. I don't know, but well, I talked to Canada. No big deal. But I mean, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I got some QSL cards. These guys get on 9 o'clock every night, 9 to about 9:45. You know, you could use a regular antenna. I use my Carolina Wyndham too. You could tune it, you know. But I got the double bazooka, and that's what I was using. So they said I sound the best on that. But I haven't been on in, oh Christ, about 3 months now.
Right, Matt, we really got to talk one day. I don't know. I'm still up in the air, but I definitely want to mount a tuner right at the antenna. And I got to narrow down to the Palstar and the ACOM. I'm not sure which one, but if it's going to be the Palstar, we really need to talk about how I'm gonna control it out in the shed.
But Al, are you nuts? There's $1,600.
Yeah.
What the hell do you want a tuner like that for? You got a Palstar inside. Why do you want a tuner at the antenna? $1,600.
Frank. I'm running close to 175 feet of coax, and I'm tuning a mix-max of 2.5. Do you know how much loss I have in that coax tuning it from in the shack? If I tuned it right at the antenna, I will have 0 loss in the coax.
Wow. Holy mackerel. Too bad you couldn't run ladder line.
Yeah, and he's got a point there, Frank. That is true. I mean, if you correct your SWR 100 feet away from your antenna, then your coax has 100 feet of bad SWR in it. And, well, I mean, if you want to warm up the ground, that's not going to be a great heater. It's not going to warm it up with great efficiency, but it will get warmer. The coax will slowly get warmer there, Frank.
Okay, that was a perfect double. Word for word. I heard you, Al. I heard Matt. I heard you together. You harmonized. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, when you got bad SWR in a coax, even if you're correcting it, like, you know, close to your radio, all that coax between your tuner and your antenna has got a bad SWR. It's whatever without the without the tuner, and that will get warm. It will actually, you're losing your power to heat in the coax. So I mean, even you could have coax that's rated for 5 kilowatts and be bringing it almost to meltdown with 1 kilowatt in that situation. If after your antenna tuner in between there and your antenna has a bad SWR.
I didn't realize Al ran 200 feet.
Oh yeah. I go across my house from one end to the other. Then I go outside. Then I run from my house across the yard to the corner of the fence. Then I go the length of the yard to the back of the yard. Then from there I come out from the fence again to my antenna. So yeah, I didn't measure it, but it's close, Frank. It's close. And I'm losing some serious wattage tuning the antenna in the house. Now the SWR is not that high. A 2.5 is not that high, but it's high. Now, Matt, sometimes I wonder, am I better off not tuning it at all and just running the 2.5 straight to the antenna?
Well, I don't think there'd be all that much difference there, RX or TX. What antenna are you running? I'm wondering if there's something better like multiband.
There's definitely multi-bands that are resonant, but I'm running the 05 and it performs fantastic. I mean, even with tuning it, I outperformed the Chris Craft. I had a Chris Craft, what was it, the R8 and the 05 side by side, and the Max with the Max box or Switch box, I should say. And the signal reports was just so much better on the 05. Plus, the 05 is built like a tank. And I don't need any guy wires. It's just freestanding, 90-mile-an-hour winds, freestanding, no problem. I like the antenna. I really like the antenna. It's the antenna I'm on right now. It does 40 to 6 meters. Every band, no problem. You just got to use the tuner. And with this amp, I don't even have to use the tuner, because when you read the book in the amp, it tells you a 3-to-1 or less. Don't even waste your time using the tuner. Just let it go right into the amp.
Oh yeah, that's not really going to harm it at all. But yeah, I just looked up those antennas. Those are nice. So currently, of course, all I have up is a dipole. But in the garage, in what I used to run at my old location, is not the R7 or R8. I have the older R7000, and I actually have two complete ones in the garage. Won't get rid of them. Won't give them up. Those things are awesome. I tried an R7, and I actually gave it back to the person and went right back to my R7000. The R7000 is definitely, one of the hidden gems of vertical antenna, I think. No radials required, just the antenna, as it is. But the matchboxes, they can blow out if you don't have the antenna tuned right. And the antenna does take like a few hours to tune, correctly between all of the bands, to get all 7 bands. But when you do tune it right, I mean, that's what I got most of my DXCC with, that and 100 watts.
I had one, and I agree with you. It was better than the later versions. Now, I found out talking to another guy who has this antenna that the company who makes it, they will make you other elements if you want them. Like this antenna right here on 40 meters is flat, almost across the whole band. I don't think anywhere in the band it goes higher than a 1.3. They will make you other elements for whatever band you want to work. And they make the insulator that will clip onto this element, and you clip the other element onto it. And you can have resonant bands if you want. You just got to clip the other elements on. But I'll be honest with you, this thing works so well. I don't see the need for doing that. I want to put a tuner at the base, and I'll bet you this thing will be a powerhouse.
Where's the tuner going to go, in the shed?
Well, depending on what tuner I go with, Frank. If I go with the Palstar, it will go in the shed, because the Palstar is not made to be outside. If I go with the ACOM, it will go on the mast right underneath the antenna tuner, because that is made to be outside. So it depends on which one I go with.
Roger.
Either way, it would be a whole lot less loss. And I do like the Palstars. I like the way they work, having the roller inductor inside and the air capacitor, variable air capacitor. I mean, if it would only one up, and I've even thought about modifying it myself, is putting a vacuum capacitor of similar value in. That would be the only thing that I would think of that could make the Palstar tuner just, that much better.
Roger, but now if you look at the ACOM, look at the inside of the ACOM, I think you'll be pretty impressed. They're not doing it with relays.
Oh, looking for the image now.
Although I really like how the Palstar works, too. It's probably, to be honest with you, what's going to make up my mind which one I go with, because they're both about the same price. Although the ACOM can only handle 1,200 watts, the Palstar, I think can handle 1,500 watts. It's probably going to be which one is more user-friendly for remote and working from inside the shack. They both got fantastic reviews.
Yeah, they definitely do look nice. I don't know. I guess I haven't tried the other, and I have the Palstar, and I've been running it for a while, and I run it remote. I do have software that I can bring up on my computer and you can even see that in my live stream. That's the window that's in the lower right hand, or the right lower side of the screen. That's actually a little bit difficult how I have that set up, because the Palstar tuner only supports serial communications on it. So I found a serial to Ethernet adapter, and then I run software on the computer to receive that.
Now, how's that work? The serial, where is that going? Back to your radio, because they don't make like a controller for it or nothing. So what's that going back to your radio, and your radio keys it? Because I know it's not RF tuning.
Yeah, I do RF tuning with it. My serial port connects to this little network device that plugs into the network so that I can bring up that window that, like I said, that you can see on the stream. I only use that for monitoring the tuner. I do trigger it solely with RF. I disable the amp through the PA button on my radio. I hit the tune button on the radio, and that just drops out about a 7-watt CW tune. And whenever my match is anything over 1.9 to 1, it triggers an auto tune. So basically anything under 2 to 1, it automatically starts tuning. But the Palstar has no relays, so I'm not really worried if it does trigger in the middle of a transmission, because it's not going to be slapping and sparking up a storm. It's just going to tune the knob a little bit.
Right, but it does have RF tuning. So in other words, I could just mount the thing inside the shed, give it some power, and put a blink camera on it, so I can see the face of it back at the shack, and I could just key it up that way.
Yeah, or I can give you some other options, and on setting up the software the way I have it. I might even be able to convert it over to Wi-Fi, depending on the distance, straight line, have it connect to your home Wi-Fi. But I mean, ultimately, running like a Cat5 cable out there would be better. And with all the RF, it'll have to be shielded. But like I said, I have this box that you just plug the serial port into this box, and it comes out as a RJ45 Ethernet cable connection that connects to my network, and from there I can, it shows up as a serial port on my computer, and then I can just run the software. With the software, I can manually tune it. I can turn the inductor or the capacitor manually. I can bypass it. I can switch through the different antenna ports. So there is some value other than just looking at the SWR.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of value. That's a lot of value. Yeah, the Cat6, that's nothing. I could get, because it's going to have to go in the ground, but I could get the Recbevio Cat6 with a shield, and I'll probably put a lightning suppressor on it too, because Cat6 in the ground is notorious for getting failures and stuff like that. Yeah, we gotta talk.
I'm infamous for doing ghetto fiber runs on all my long runs, because it's fiber. OM3 fiber is way cheaper than copper these days, and it does 10 gigs, so it's a win-win. So pretty much all my computers around the house and everything, I run OM3 fiber right to the back of them.
Yeah, but can you bury that stuff in the ground?
Why the heck not? I mean, you can't bend it sharply. I mean, it's non-conductive. It's plastic.
Oh yeah, no, I run fiber all the time at work. So I get it. And I know you can't bend it because basically it's glass. But I don't know. I don't know how strong it is in the ground. I'm worried about the earth moving and, you know, rocks rubbing up against it and stuff, if it will break it.
Oh, yeah. And not to mention, if you use, like, the stuff that you're supposed to run, say, in a wall or in the ground, you're going to need someone to splice. All my runs in the house are, as I'll call them, you know, Mickey Mouse runs. They just use the patch cable because I don't have a fiber splicer and I'm not paying someone to splice. But you know, you can go on Amazon and get 100 feet of LC to LC patch cable for something like $25. That's almost double that for Cat 6.
Yeah, I get it pretty cheap, and I would whatever it is, I just, you know, let it off to a job somewhere. American Teleconnect does all my fiber polishing and splicing, and I work with them a lot, so I would have no problem with them coming over here and doing whatever they got to do. They won't even charge me. But I just worry about it being in the ground, like I said, with the earth moving and the rocks going back and forth. I mean, I see how those rocks bust PVC like it's not even there. I can imagine what it may do to fiber under the ground, unless it has like a real heavy-duty jacket that's made for that. Now, the Cat 6, the direct burial Cat 6, I know I could put that in the ground. That stuff is so friggin' rugged, it's unbelievable.
Oh, well, I'm sure they make some, you know, jacketed fiber. And, like, you know, with the fiber, as you know, you run multi-strand, even if you're only using one. But nowadays, I mean, yes, a lot of, like, the network gear for fiber is expensive if you buy it all new. But go on eBay, and, I mean, all you're looking for is 1 gigabit. I mean, crap, for this, you don't even need that. 100 megabit would be more than sufficient, because really it's only a serial connection that it ends up being 9600 baud to the thing. But anywho, you just pick up whatever old HP or whatever switch that has 4 or 8 ports, and as long as it has one of those fiber transceiver ports, that's it. You know, you put one of those on each side, or you just get one of the line converters. Those are even cheaper. And, you know, there you have it. Perfect lightning isolation, static isolation, blah, blah, blah. Nice, happy network inside and no issues. My station here, I have a 100-foot fiber between everything that's attached to a coax and my home network, the whole rest of the network. There's a 100-foot fiber between.
Roger, I'll have to do some research. Actually, I'll just call Kevin up and have he's my go-to guy for all that stuff. If they make a fiber with a real nice jacket for being buried on the ground, he'll know what it is. And chances are, he'll probably have some laying around in the shop that he'll just give me.
Yeah, and what do you know? Down the road, you get other, like, you know, a lot of the new, you know, ham gear is all coming out, like, network capable. You know, you could put whatever, throw it in there, and just, you know, connect everything, and it all stays electrically isolated from your house. Better lightning protection that way than any other way. Anyway, we should probably send it around. I got to run to the restroom. So I will be back momentarily. N1MJF.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to hit the hay. It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to head upstairs. Anyway, it's very interesting listening to Matt, Al. Steve, you still up?
I'm going to bed.
All right, I'm going to bed too. Yeah, it's getting a little past my... I got to go up, have a snack, watch a little bit of the news, and tomorrow's going to be a rainy day all day. So I'm going to say 7-3, Steve, Matt, Al, and Al, I'll get that recipe off my sister, no problem.
Roger. If you guys want to pick up the radio this weekend, Frank, you can. Just let me know. When you pick it up, though, make sure those guys get on the air and you use it to see if you like it or not. Don't just have it sitting in your house doing nothing, because then I'm going to be looking for it back and you're not even going to have tried it yet.
No, I know it. I got it all set up. Me, Steve, RAC, and Orlando. We're going to go on 10-meter digital. Yeah, 4 of us.
I can tell you what it's going to be like, Frank. It's going to be exactly like talking Fusion, because that's exactly what it is. You're going to do digital on HF, and it's not going to sound like HF at all. It's going to sound just like you sound on VHF or UHF or anywhere else. It's going to sound exactly like that, as long as you guys got a strong enough signal where the digital don't drop out.
Roger that. Yup. Yeah. Okay, I gotta check your address out, because your address isn't right on QRZ.
No, I'm working on getting that changed, but the FCC website was down, or something was wacky, so I gotta see what's going on. But I can give you my address right now if you got a pen.
Yeah, I'm ready, Al.
It's 7 Apple Blossom Lane, Coventry, Rhode Island.
Okay, I got it. Yep. I'll see. Maybe me and Steve could come up Saturday if Steve ain't doing nothing. Because Steve's got a radio like that, and he could show me a few hints about it. But all right, Al, maybe I'll have that recipe for you Saturday too.
Yeah, no problem. Steve's more than welcome to come up with you. Now, Frank, do you use the what do you call them? The Myers plugs. You know the Myers plugs for power, for DC power. Do you use those?
Yeah, I do have a power supply that takes them. Yeah, the little red and black power plugs. Yeah. All
right, good, because that's how the radio is set up, and one of those on the end of it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I got a power supply that takes that. Yeah, the power poles. Yeah, it's a 30 amp, I don't know the name of it, I forget.
30 amps is fine, you only need 20, so. All right, I guess I'll hang around for Matt to come back, and then I'm going to take off too, because I got an early day tomorrow and a lot going on, and I was dragging my ass all day today. I don't want to do the same tomorrow.
You work in the rain out too?
Frank, I don't work, period. My working days are over. I drive from one end of the state to the other. I babysit jobs to make sure everything's going okay. Or I'm in the office quoting work. But the physical work, those days been over for a while.
Okay, understood. Yep. Okay, Alan, thank you. Yep, I'll let you know about Saturday, and I'll get that recipe. So I'll say 7-3 to you, Steve, and when Matt comes back, tell him I had to go. So anyway, have a good night. AWZ, I'll be clear.
Have a good night, Frank. N1MJF, good to hear you.
All right, Frank. Saturday's supposed to be pretty good. So if you shut that down in your thumb in there, GPS there, and yeah, we'll definitely do that Saturday if you want.
Okay, Steve, yeah. Park your car in my yard, we'll go in my truck, and I'll have it in the GPS. Sounds good. All right, thank you, Al. Matt, have a good night. Always nice listening. I'm getting educated, Matt. In my old age, a little bit at a time. Anyway, 7-3s all around. KB1AWZ. Claire and QRT.
There are trees, N1LEO. 7-3s, Alan.
See you later, Steve. 73s, M1Y.
Hey, have a good night, Steve. Good hearing you in there, as usual. N1MJF here. Hey, Al, got something for you to give me your opinion on. What do you think about this? A little bit of plate reverb in the background.
It sounds like my old Galaxy. I don't know if you remember what was the Galaxy base, the big black base. It had the rack handles. It was a gorgeous looking rig. It was supposed to be quote unquote a 10-meter rig, but it was more of a CB rig. That's exactly what it sounds like. The gallery had a slider to do that. It sounds good. I don't know if I would actually run it as audio, but it's cool to play around with.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't know. It might be too much. May have to turn it down a little bit. We'll see how it sounds. I don't know. Like I said, something to try. I can flip back and forth. Easy enough. Then it's gone.
It sounds like that God effect, you know, like you know how like a lot of the movies, you see the movies where God will come down and talk to people. That's what you sound like.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I got to work on it. I think that was a little bit too much. If I thinned it out and, you know, had probably half or less than half of that, it may be better.
Oh, it sounds cool. But if you were going to actually use it for communicating, I probably thin it out a little bit. You know, the Mr. Hams will cut you up with that type of audio.
Oh yeah, for sure. But always fun to, you know, that's why it's nice, I think, to be able to just have the profiles and be able to just click real quick and, you know, hey, what are you talking about? It's not there.
I can't believe how fast you could switch from one profile to another. One thing I missed about my 9000 that this radio does not have. My 9000, I had a mic in the front, which was the 3-pin mic for, you know, studio mics. And then I had the 8-pin mic in the back. And each mic came with a 12-band equalizer. And each mic came with their own settings with your processor and stuff. So you could have one mic for rag chewing, and you could have the other mic set up for DXing. And that's what I did. I think it was a Electro Voice. What was I think the last mic I was running was the Electro Voice. I'm not sure. In the front for rag chewing, and then in the back, I just had the hi-ho headset for DXing. And whatever mic you grab was that equalizer, you know, so one was set totally different than the other. But in this radio, I can't do that. Now what I can do, what this radio has, It has a equalizer with the processor on and an equalizer with the processor off. So I could set the processor off to be my rag-chew, although I like running processing all the time. But I mean, I could do the rag-chew with no processor and have the equalizer set for that sound, you know, nice, low, mellow. And then I could do the processor with it set the complete opposite. And I mean, you could really take this EQ and really slam the audio. I think that's the only way I may be able to have the best of both worlds. Definitely, I can't do like what you do and have 7 or 8 different profiles that just go click, click, click. I wish I could, but I can't.
Well, I don't know if you're looking at the stream or not. If you don't have a link to it, I just sent you one just now. But I just stuck my main window, which is usually not on the stream, on it so you can see. And with that, I have these 3 profiles on the left of this window. I see you just looked at the message, so I'll stall a moment. And I'm moving around the window that I normally have stuck off. And I have 3 profiles on the left pane. And if I double click, say, hi-fi with reverb, boom, I get hi-fi with reverb. On the right side of this, you can see all of the different effects in the chain. If I click, say, the DX, you'll see even a lot of this stuff, this, and this, all is powered off. There's a power button here. Those are all off now. And then if I go for the hi-fi with reverb, everything's turned on top to bottom. If I go to just hi-fi, it just shuts the, this plate reverb. This is the reverb window, and it simulates, an actual plate. That's the Abbey Road plate reverb. But I like it. It seems to do all right. And then I'll put my multi-band compressor back. But yeah, and then this is the Abbey Road saturation over here. Those were part of a pack that I got. But yeah, the main things are the BBE. These are what really changed my sound.
Yeah, that's nice. I was looking at it. Online. Oh, wait a minute. Let me turn this on so I can see what I sound like. I'm actually still listening to you. Are we doubling or is that much of a delay?
No, that's the delay. There's 15 or 20 seconds of delay.
Okay, yeah, I just figured that out. That's nice. I like that. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll be able to do anything like that. Unless you're running like a software-defined radio.
I bet you your radio you can inject audio through a PC without any issue at all. But I mean, all of this that I'm simulating, you could even find on eBay or Marketplace or here or there used. I mean, these BBE units are, my whole audio chain on the left there, that's very common for a bass guitar.
Right. But how would you inject it into the radio? How would you go about doing that?
Well, it'll have line input in the back, That's the better way. I mean, you can use an attenuator and always put it right through the mic input. But I mean, that's more problematic. But that radio has a line input in the back. That's also how people run digital modes with it. If you're doing FT8 or anything like that, you'd think that's a line level audio that you're sending into your radio.
Yeah, I actually have that line hooked up right now. For my logging software and stuff, it allows me to, track the radio and switch bands and everything from the computer. I'll have to look into that one day too, but I'm not a big computer guy. That's why I can never warm up to the software-defined radios. I'm old school. I like the box and the buttons and the knobs.
Well, once you accept the fact that inside your box with all the buttons and knobs is a software-defined radio nowadays, there are software-defined radios, like if you look at the Anons, they are a box with knobs and a screen and everything all, in one, just like what you've got now. You can hook up external monitors for better view, but the things I enjoy are the remote ability. I mean, say like, in Frank's situation, he was injured. He could have just, grabbed a tablet with a little headset, connected to a SDR and transmit just like he's sitting right there. Even when I go up to Maine, I have internet in the camper. I could connect right back to this and transmit just like I was sitting right here. My audio would be different because I wouldn't have all of the audio effects or anything, but I can power up my amp, I can work the tuner, I can work the radio. Everything's remote.
Nice. The fact that you could do your amp too is real nice. They make an interface for this radio for remote in it. And I have in a box. I never used them. I bought them and then I never used them. I think they're only for Yaesu. I could be wrong. Either they're only for Yaesu or I'm completely wrong. And you can open them up and change the jumpers for Yaesu, Kenwood, or ICOM. But it's two boxes. One hooks up to the radio and plugs into your internet, and the other box you take with you wherever the hell you're going, and you plug that into the internet, and you're up and running remote. You can have full control of your radio and everything else. And I had those two boxes for about 8 years now, sitting in a box and never used them once.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those. I was actually looking at those originally, because originally when I moved into where I am, my landlord said no antenna, none, forget about it. I was planning on putting a station in my father-in-law's backyard and running it remote. And before deploying that, I asked my landlord, hey, you mind if I just put up a temporary antenna just for like a month or two to test before I deploy this, in the southern end of the state? And he's like, okay, fine, just, a month or two, that's it. So I put it up, and then he saw the dipole, and he's like, what's this clothesline? How are you using this clothesline up here? And I said, no, that's my antenna. He's like, get the heck out of here. No way. I don't care if you have that. If that's all it is, you can keep that. So I ended up setting up the whole station for remote, just because I thought that was going to be my only way to get on the air. And, thankfully and, grateful, he told me I can just keep it. So that's where I haven't pushed the fact. I have one dipole up in the little dice cone.
Yeah, and if you don't try to squeeze anything else up, you'll probably be fine. He was probably thinking, you know, like this big beam or, you know, the CB antennas and stuff like that. But, oh, that's sweet. That's sweet that you scored. Now, does he live there? Is it a single-family house and you're renting from him, or does he live there too? And you don't have any RF problems with him if he's there, do you?
So it's kind of almost a mix in between. So it is single-family house. I rent the whole property, but he is my next-door neighbor. And I've asked him about RF issues. He says not a one. And that kind of makes sense because, I mean, I don't have any RF issues in our house here, even when I'm running a kilowatt. You know, my stepson has all amplified speakers. I got amplified speakers, you know. The whole living room, there's like 5 or 6 amplifiers in the living room. Even if I'm, you know, got my racing simulator on, which is only, you know, a handful of feet and in the same room, that's got 11 audio channels amplified. Not a squeak of RF and anything. I can run a full kilowatt plus. Everything is set up by the books, and I only use RG400 coax. I swear by that stuff.
Yeah, I'm using LMR 400. Now, at my other house, I had no RF problems, but my neighbor on the back street, I used to disturb her radio. And she was an old lady who used to love listening to AM, and she complained, and she howling and hooling, and she's going to call the FCC, and her son's going to call the FCC, and her son grabbed me in the yard one day, and I'm calling the FCC, and I said, hang on a sec. I said, come on in my house. So he came in my house, and I brought him downstairs. He says, I don't care what your shack looks like. I said, no. I said, I want to give you the phone number. I said, I got it here somewhere. I said, so save you the trouble of looking it up. He got pissed. I don't know if they ever called. If they did, I never heard nothing. But then I ended up, the son was a complete a-hole. Then I ended up talking to the lady, and I says, look, if I can resolve your problem, would you be happy with that? And she says, yeah, how are you going to resolve it? I says, I'm going to buy you a new radio. I says, one that's not a piece of garbage. And I bought her a Sansion, I'm butchering the name, and she never had a problem. Everything went away. But I'll tell you a story about my friend. He was monitoring cell phones. This is going back during the day when cell phones were around 50 megahertz and stuff like that. And he was monitoring 3 people's cell phones on his street. Well, they all got together and hired a lawyer. And the lawyer wrote this big letter to the FCC. And the FCC wrote him a letter asking him about his station, what he was running, and he went through the whole 9 yards and how everything's grounding, what he was doing to ground, and blah, blah, BB. The FCC wrote him a letter back. And you won't believe what their response was. Their response was, you can try helping them out by some filtering on their phone lines, but we recommend that you don't, because you could become responsible for anything you do in their house. And here's a list of phones that we recommend for them to buy. That was the response from the FCC after they got a lawyer's letter.
Yeah, because they probably already had knowledge that make and model phone was known to have skimped on some filtering.
Yeah, it was junk. And back then, the more fancier the phone was, the less filtering it had in it.
Well, yeah, filters cost money. You can't go cheap with a filter.
So that was that though. But I was surprised at the response. But that was the response. And then Captain Ron, you met him the other night on the air. He had the FCC outside his house one day. He seen him outside his house. And they're looking at his antennas and stuff, and they're writing stuff down. So he came outside and says, "Can I help you?" And they said, "No, we have a complaint across the river. It's the CB. It's the CB that we've been monitoring, and I just happened to be here on the street, and I seen everything, and I'm writing it down." So Cap's like, "Come on inside. You want to see my station? I'll show you what I got." So the guy's like, "Sure, if you're going to invite me inside, I'll be more than happy to look." And Cap kind of thought, that maybe they were having problems in the neighborhood, and he seen all the antennas, so he was kind of leaning on him. So the guy hung out with him in the shack for like 25 minutes, a half an hour, and he says, "I seen enough, you're good, no problem," and he left, and he never heard nothing of it. But I guess he found out that it was some CB running like crazy wattage, all dirty, bothering all sorts of things.
Oh yeah, I've seen them because I do a lot of like ham radio searches online. I see them all the time. These guys are building at the very bare minimum 1 kilowatt AM boxes, but more of them are now 5 kilowatt, 8 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt mobile boxes too.
Oh yeah. Oh, 1,000 watts to those guys, the serious CBs, that's like QRP.
Yeah, and then they overmodulate them and everything else, and oh my god, it sounds like trash. I like a good wide AM signal, like 8-10 kilohertz wide, but theirs doesn't sound any better when you stretch out the filter. It just sounds worse. You go down to like, you know what I'm saying, the 3875, those guys, every once in a while you hear like, the guys that come on with their broadcast equipment, they're 10, 12, 16K wide. While, my radio can transmit that bandwidth, probably sound nice, I ain't going to that extreme. I'll go to 4K per, side, but, I'll sit back, expand my filter to 16K and listen to them for hours. It sounds beautiful.
I did, I used to run 6K when I was doing AM. I was a big AMer on 80 meters, and I used to run 6K, and I ran a D104. I mean, the guys were running the big shores and the this and the that, and they used to always tell me, I can't believe how gorgeous that D104 sounds. I was like, hey, what can I say? You want to spend $1,300 on a mic, and I spent $120.
Yeah, I mean, the microphone does matter, but at the same point in time, how you process it for your voice matters more.
Yeah, and what you're running for a rig. I was running a Johnson Viking Ranger. I had it modified to 10 watts. It normally did 45 watts. I had to drop it down to 10. And 10 watts in on the amp gave me 1,000 watts out. When I started talking on the peaks. And it just sounded absolutely beautiful. And I mean, these guys are all audio nuts. I mean, they're looking at everyone's audio on the scope, and you're this and you're that, and every time they look at me in the scope and everything, and they say, I can't believe how good that thing sounds.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's the plate modulated AM audio. Definitely preferred down in that crew. I haven't really operated much AM, but I have made sure my positive peaks are correct, my phase is correct, things like that, so that, you know, and I've run a number of tests with AM, 8K wide. Yeah, that's typically about where I go. 4K per side band, 8K wide.
Yeah, I was running 6, and yes, it is plate modulated. I mean, mostly everything, the group of guys that I talked to, mostly everybody was running plate modulated. Very few rice burners. And we could always tell when a rice burner came out. They would cut them up. That sounds like shit. What are you running, a rice burner? But then they came out. There was a guy who made some solid 80-meter transmitters that you could buy, and they sounded great. They sounded just like they were plate modulated. And he was selling them like hotcakes. A lot of the guys were buying them. They only go for 80 meters. You could buy, you know, I think he made it for 80 and 40. And they only did 10 watts, but they sounded, the audio was phenomenal. So a lot of guys were buying that, but I was always into the Vikings. That's what I always ran. But yeah, most of my HF, you guys, Frankie, most of my time on HF was all AM. A matter of fact, there's a guy, Charlie, who's running my rig right now down there on 80 meters on 8.35. I think that those group of guys are talking, and he has my whole setup. I gave it away when I bought this house. I never thought I was going to set up a shack again, and if I did, I wasn't going to go into all the trouble of the. I had the Viking Ranger, and I was running a Collins receiver with it. Then I was running a JRC receiver. I wasn't going to go through all that trouble. I said, if I ever set up a shack, it's going to be, you know, a rice box, all modern. And so I gave everything away. I gave it all to Charlie. And that was like 8 years ago, and he's still running all that same equipment right now on the air every night.
I think I've heard him on a couple nights on 80 meters with it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's running an amp, though. I certainly hope so, because it's not a radio. Although 45 watts, it did a decent job, but I always ran it with an amp. As a matter of fact, I ran it with an AL80B. And 10 watts in gave me 1,000 watts out, and that AL80B just ran like clockwork on AM with no problem. I heard some other Ameritron amps, the smaller ones, the guys were frying them on AM, but the AL80B and the bigger ones, they just ran all day long with no problem.
Well, how's that ACOM to drive? What does it take in there? I mean, right now, I'm running this, the Mercury III. I think I'm putting just about 4 watts into it, and I'm getting 900 out.
Yeah, no, you got to drive this thing with more than that. I'm driving it right now with 40. Maximum is 60. They say you should. There's no need to drive over anything more than 60 watts. But I don't know. when it shuts off, if you put too much wattage into it, it just goes click. It shuts off. The error code comes up telling you to drop your wattage. But I had put 100 into it just to see, the circuit and when it shut it off and stuff. And even with 100, it just ran fine. I did see the circuit shut off when I had the band switch in the wrong position. When I first got the amp, I had the band switch in the wrong position, and I'm trying to key the amp up, and I'm like, what the frick's going on? This amp don't even work. It's broken. It don't transmit. Blah, 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 blee, blee, blee. And it's just because my eyes are bad, So I went upstairs to get my glasses so I could read a book, and as soon as I put my glasses on and I looked, I said, oh, shit, I got the band in the wrong position. So I put the switch to the band I was talking on, and boom, everything just fired up.
Yeah. I don't know what I'll do if I get any other amp, because I haven't had to worry about any of that. I just, with the Mercury, you just hit the power and that's it. And that is the only button I actually have remote control over on the Mercury, is just the power button. That's the only thing I need if by chance something does happen and there's it does go into an alarm state, just cycle the power anyway. So if I was there, I would be able to press the screen to reset any alarm, but as of now, I just shut the power off for 10 seconds and turn it back on. I can see the amp, as you can see in the stream and everything, but I've thought, and I have a way to make the touch screen in my Mercury 3 wireless, or even connect to my network like the Palstar tuner. I just haven't done it. I don't know why. I could probably do it in one evening and then just have the Mercury screen powered up on my desk here, but I don't know. I haven't done it yet.
Well, you probably haven't done it because there's no need. Now, ACOM makes the ACOM 2000, I believe, which is a gorgeous amp. Just 2,500 watts. And even though it's a tube amp, it's fully automatic. It will switch bands all by itself. It will tune the amp all by itself. And it actually comes with a matching, of course you have to buy it, a matching tuner, where the tuner just plugs into the amp and everything is just 100% automatic. And the nice thing about it is it's 100% automatic and it's a tube amp. But I think that amplifier is like $8,000.
Oh yeah, for a little bit less money, I would end up getting that. What is it? The RF Kit 2K amp. Yeah, I would definitely get one of those before. I think if I was to get any other amp now, that would be it. And I've heard that those are a little bit buggy, but I don't care. Just the remote capability that thing gives you, and all the added capability. It's definitely an awesome amp, and I it will run 2K from what I heard, which I don't even. There's no real big gain after 1 kilowatt, but the advantage I see in having an amp that's rated for that is digital modes and things like AM. Now you can have a little bit more power when needed.
Oh yeah, digital mode, but AM you can have that power anyways. Like this amp right here, I have no problem doing 1,000 watts on this amp on AM. and I don't think it will hurt the amp at all. Digital is another story. But the advantage of having a 2,000 watt amplifier, because I agree with you, after 1,000 watts, 2,000 watts, you're not even going to notice the difference. The only difference will be you have a lot more headroom, which means the amp's going to run, you know, a lot cooler and everything else, because all the components are rated, you know, for those 2,000 watts. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Actually, 800 watts. I don't think once you get to 800 watts, the difference between 800 watts and 1,500 watts ain't even noticeable.
Nope, absolutely not. I agree. Yeah, and I also agree on the headroom too. The more headroom you have, the better the IMD is. So there is quality differences. A lot of them you may not be able to hear, but you know, all in all, you can actually see them on, you know, any type of SDR with a waterfall. You can see who goes way past their filters and who doesn't.
Yeah, but so far, I love the amp, and tuning this amp really takes about 4 seconds. I could tune this amp in 4 seconds and be completely tuned.
Oh yeah, they're a lot better and more refined than the older ones. My last amp before I had the Mercury was the Henry 2KD. I don't know whose desk they thought when they were named that the desktop amp, but I had that awesome amp, amazing amp, awesome signal, near bulletproof, but it weighed a ton. It was huge, and it wouldn't work for me without running coax all the way to the, you know, other corner of the house and back. So not to mention, at that time I was looking at a full remote station. So I needed all remote capability on everything. I haven't regretted it. Actually, I don't think I'll ever go to another tube amp ever again. While the pill style amps are definitely not something I would consider, the LD MOS units work pretty good. They require very little drive. They give you a good signal out. They can handle, you know, SWR pretty good. So, I mean, as long as you don't beat on them, I've been using this one for 3 years now, just the same way I'm using it tonight, and works every day, works every night. I mean, I've even run digital mode during a contest for, I don't know, I think I ran for like 5 or 6 hours straight with 600 watts. Its limit in digital modes is 700 watts. So I was running, you know, 80% of its rated in a digital mode for, half the day.
Yeah, if I ever got a solid state amp, which I may, I still have that amp on order. The only solid state amps that I would consider is the Mercury, and I don't know if you remember the high power. But those are probably the only 2 solid state amps that I would consider that I know of right now. Even the ACOM, I wouldn't buy an ACOM amp because I read the reviews on them and they had their issues. But the Mercury and the high power both seem to have a pretty good reputation for being a solid amp.
Have you seen the RF2K amp that I mentioned a couple times?
I have not.
They're about 5,500, but it is a full solid state 2 kilowatt LD MOS. 160 to 6 meter. They have about a 6 to 8 week wait, but they have Wi-Fi, network connectivity. They have an antenna tuner, I believe, in them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I do remember, built-in ATU. They actually have a Raspberry Pi computer in them. So I've seen people, you can you can actually install all custom meters if you like cross meters, if you like, LED meters on the thing. It's the only amp out there that's fully customizable.
And they're good. They got a good reputation as far as, not getting took out by spikes or, if your SWR is just a little too high, they're solid.
EHAM has 4.8 stars with 23 reviews.
That's pretty good. No, I never seen those amps. I gotta look into them. But and then the other amp that I absolutely love it's also another tube amp, but it's the Alpha. That's fully auto. I mean, it tunes itself. And it's another amp with the stepper motors in it, and those amps are real good. Now this amp, I was reading the book. I guess a lot of bootleggers, the private stations use these amps. I think more of the 2000. But I was reading the book and it says if you're going to key down on this amp for more than 15 minutes straight, that they recommend you put a fan on the back of it. So I may do that. I may purchase the fan. They have power right in the amp for it. But then again, I don't ever see myself keying down for 15 minutes straight. And I guess if you're keying down for 15 minutes straight, it's going to be on AM or something like that. But I may put the fan on, even though I don't need it, just because it's out there.
Yeah, I mean, for sideband, that wouldn't matter at all. That would only matter for digital or AM. You're correct. And if that's the case, then just find out the voltage of their fan and then get a quiet fan and put it there. And that'll kind of be the in-between, meet it halfway. It won't give you the full duty, the 100% duty cycle, but it'll give you a little bit lower temperature, without the cost of any additional noise at all. And what I mean by that is if you look up a brand called Noctua, Noctua, they have these super quiet fans. They don't make any noise at all.
I have to check that out, Noctua. I will look at that. The fan that's in this amp now is extremely quiet. But added another fan to it, because the fan they want you to add is right behind the transformer. It's not for the tube. That already has a fan. It's for the transformer.
Oh, yeah, so then get a small little, one that's not a lot of pressure. That would be more than fine for it. But anyway, I think I'm going to be pulling the plug pretty soon. I'm starting to fade. And tomorrow will be my Friday. So, last day where I have the work obligation for this week.
Yeah, well, I said I was going to pull the plug. I told Frankie I was just going to wait for you to come back to say goodbye, and I was going to pull the plug then if you started talking. Yeah, I got a busy day tomorrow. The fan is 24 volts. I already looked at the jack in the back to power the fan up. It's 24 volts. So yeah, I think I might look into those fins. When you get a chance, if you could send me the name, because I didn't write it down, and I don't even know if I have a pen around here. But send me the name and I'll check them out. All right, I'll talk to you later, Mark. Mark, I don't know why I call you Mark all the time, but I'll talk to you later on. 70 trees, and maybe catch you in there tomorrow night or something. And one more night.
Yeah, sounds good. And I'll send you something on the fans. I'll have to look up, I'll put a reminder in the morning, because I'll have to look up what size fan that amp takes, and then I'll get you the exact nice quiet fan replacement. But yeah, have yourself a great night. Definitely good to hear you, and good to hear the amp finally. And I should be on tomorrow night. Most definitely. But have yourself a good night. 7-3. N1 MJF.
73. N1 YNI.